welcome to our online streaming. I just want to say a big happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I hope you're having an amazing time with your family. We're going to praise our God today. So stand to your feet or stay in your bed, whichever is most comfortable. And let's sing together. Here we go. When night is falling, when fear is coming, still you're calling me. When faith is lost and my hope exhausted, you will be my strength. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. And I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. Oh, soul, oh, in my soul. Oh, soul. In every season, you keep repeating promises to me. Now there's no stopping what you have started until it is complete. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. Yeah, I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on, it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. Oh, soul, oh, in my soul. Oh, soul, oh. We'll sing your love. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. Oh, soul, oh, in my soul. Oh, soul, oh. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Woo! Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. Oh, yeah. Soul, oh, in my soul. Oh, soul, oh, yeah. Soul, oh, in my soul. Oh, all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You were close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. Sing all my life, and all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. And your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Sing your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Sing all my life. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Come on, sing your goodness. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. And your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. And your goodness is running after, it's running after me.
Morning church, welcome to Sunday service online. Today we're celebrating Mother's Day. Go grab a cup of tea, grab your mum a scone or a bicky or some brekkie and kick back and enjoy this little combo we're going to have.
And on team this morning I have Faith, who's our young adults leader, along with her husband Jeremy, doing a fabulous job with that group of kids. Well, they are kids to somebody. We've got Carla, who's on our team and has been with us for
30 years.
30 years. We've got
30
two kids
years.
who are the same age and have grown up together. She's a chappie has been a chappie at 2 schools, 3 actually, for what, 20 years?
20 years.
Can't believe that. And then we have Em over here, who is campus pastor along with Benji down on the south side for generations. And me, I'm just the mama of the house. I'm a jack of all trades.
I call that spack filling. I fill in the gaps.
I fill in the gaps, yeah. So thanks for joining us this morning, and I hope you've got a cup of tea or coffee and some scones or something here. And we're just going to have a conversation, and hopefully you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, come on. I guess for me, I heard some time ago Gina Jeffrey's song called Room at the Table, and it just cracks me up every time, in a good way, not laughing, but just, emotions. And I wrote to her actually to see what it was about, and it was along the same thoughts as what I had, that there's, even though you're full and you feel like your heart's full, there's always room at the table for one more.
Yeah.
When I grew up, we had a big family, but if somebody turned it up unexpectedly, my mum just would whip up a batch of scones or pikelets or make the stew go further. Same in our house when we were growing up. Somebody turns up unexpected, you just go to the pantry and go, what else can I add? And you end up with a big feast.
Yeah.
Because that person's important, and you enjoy their company, and you don't want to kick them out, do you now? It's like...
that'd be rude.
That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? So room at the table, it also speaks to me of the Father's heart of God, my Father, that there's always room at his table for any one of us or any one of you there watching. It's the invitation's always there to come to the table.
Yeah.
Like he says David said in Psalm 23, he prepares a table for me in the midst of my enemies, and that invitation is there for all of us. But whether we accept an invitation or not is really up to us, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a church, obviously, and as people who love Jesus and have found him in our lives, we always have room to add more people to experience what we've experienced of him. And so our mums aren't perfect. As a mum, I'm not perfect. If you ask any of my kids, I'm sure they'll tell you. Maybe one day we'll do an interview on that and have all my kids and we can find out all my bad points. No. Yet women are perfectly designed to carry new life, really, hey? And to give birth and carry new life. And so
Faith would know that, hey? She's training to be a midwife.
I know. Faith, tell us, why did you do that? I mean, you're a mum, okay, and that was a dream of yours to be a wife and a mum, and it happened for you. You've had, had a miscarriage as well. But also the other dream you had was to be a midwife, and you're almost through, except for COVID-19. Has sort of stretched it a little.
Stalling it a little bit, yeah.
Stretching my patience.
How's that? I mean, what made you do that? Earlier you were talking to Carla about being the best job in the world. What was that?
Well, witnessing women become mothers themselves.
Is that in amongst the screaming?
Some are quiet at giving birth.
I was quiet.
Very quiet.
Italians don't have a good reputation for being quiet, but I was quiet.
Yeah. No. Yes, they're screaming right in your face like this. But there's nothing quite like seeing new life being brought into the world.
Yeah.
And seeing that family be made in that room, it's quite special. And I consider myself very lucky to be part of that.
It's awesome.
It's the best job in the world, I reckon.
I definitely saw Faith when she made that decision finally made that decision to go for it as a midwife. I saw her change. Actually, I saw her change when she went and was part of the birth of, I believe it was your kids, Em, you and Benj. She was went there to see if that was something you really wanted to do, and something clunked in you. And sort of like it engaged, and I remember Jeremy said to you so what do you reckon? And she goes, heck yeah, that's what she wanted to do. So
Yeah,
it's been wonderful watching you go on that journey, and excelling and all the raves I see that people, you've being there to help them, they've so appreciated that.
Yeah,
It's been
that's so
amazing.
good.
Yeah. So today we're celebrating, aren't we?
Yeah.
We want to celebrate what God celebrates.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we don't stop driving cars because a car breaks down. You know, we don't stop using electricity because suddenly a light bulb breaks, do we? So until the end of the earth, whenever that may be, there's always going to be somebody giving birth.
Yeah.
And so today we celebrate that, understanding, of course, don't we, that there are those who have pain on Mother's Day, Father's Day, any special days, because you know, it didn't go well for them, or they were abandoned or felt unwanted. They were adopted or fostered out, and you know, they may not have been raised by their birth mum. My mum wasn't. I'd only thought about it the other day. My mum actually wasn't raised by her birth mum because her mum passed away when she was 10 months old. So Granddad remarried a widow who already had 5 children, and Granddad had 10. So she became a stepmum to those, but she was grandma to us because we didn't know, you know, any. And she was mum to my mum.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hadn't even thought of her as a stepmom, but in actual fact she was.
And don't you reckon that's so typical of lots of children? Because I mean, being in school for 20 years, I have seen some mums not be able to care for their kids, and that's when I've seen grandmas step up, I've seen aunties step up, and women in their 60s and 70s when, as Benj said, some of them would be stepping down and kicking back. They're actually looking after adolescents, and I've worked with those grandmothers, and my hat goes off to them. I just think it's a huge task, but for love's sake, they've taken on that maybe their daughter's child or their son's child,
Or their granddaughters.
and even in some cases it's been a stepchild, you know, that they've taken on. So I stand you know, in awe a lot of those women that go that extra mile when it's probably much more relaxing to, you know, go on a cruise or something. I don't know. And they would never consider not to do it, you know. It's that love that compels them, I don't know, because it's part of their flesh or flesh and blood somehow, but it's just amazing.
You know, I'm always, I don't have the word to describe the feeling, or even of when, you know, I know there's a lot of families who, you know, when their children were born, they were born with difficulties. And some of those children, you know, grow up to be adults, yet still need the care of their parent. And I mean, we had some visitors in our Port Church a few months ago, and they had an adult daughter with them. They'd come from over the ocean for a holiday in Australia, and they had their daughter who would have been in her 30s, 40s, you know. And I'm like, wow, you know, the love of a parent. And over the years in my life, I've seen and known people who, and we have some in at the Beaches Church too, you know, where they're just this love for their child that they
it's enduring,
don't,
isn't it?
you know, and I'm sure they get tired. I'm sure there's times when they, you know, because we're human. And yet there's, I don't know, it just does something to me that God, you know, how would I be in that situation, you know? So the capacity God put, I guess, within women or females to nurture and to love is incredible, because it's a part of Him. It's an aspect. It's a character, one of His characteristics, I suppose.
And I suppose that happens to women that have children and don't have children. Like I'm one of 4 girls, and 2 of my sisters didn't have children. But as aunties, they're amazing, and our kids are very honouring to them. So much so that when we had daughters, we gave the 2 of us that did have children gave our daughters middle names, the names of their aunties. So like you were saying, Pauline, with Margaret Pashley in the Philippines, a single lady never had children, and yet there would be hundreds of young people that would call her mum. So it's not even about actually giving birth, but that that ability to nurture and to care. And we've all known women like that haven't been able to have children. And while that has been very painful for many women, somehow they've found a way to still nurture, still love. And I think the Bible even talks about that, doesn't it? Rejoice the woman that doesn't have babies, you know, that you're going to be the mother of lots of kids.
Oh, you know, we have a great friend who, you know, in years and years ago, we met way back, and have become great friends, but, you know, couldn't have children of their own, though they tried, and yet, you know, to their nieces and nephews, and then all the godchildren they have. She should have had 15 kids, but, you know, because that love that is in there just can't be shut
That's
down.
right.
So, So, I think we should think about what's a memory of growing up, or something of your mum, be it funny or whatever, that we can... You've told me some things about your mum, you know, being a working mum, etc., and how she...
Yeah, I just had a convo with her the other day, actually, because I was sort of telling her that I've been struggling with the kids at home more often, and she said when we were little, instead of going out and finding work and just putting us in daycare, you know, full time, she decided, I'll just start my own daycare. And I just remember in one particular house, all these memories of all these kids being around us, not really knowing it was a daycare at the time until she told me, you know, later on in life. But I'm just like, oh, there's always kids around, and we're always having fun, and we're always like in this little pool, and always doing painting and dress ups. And I just remember, it being such a precious time, and enjoying that, and then realising later, oh, she had a daycare. But she also said that she was very stressed because the house had to be so perfect because, you know, auditors come in and make sure everything's in order. But I was like, Mum, I don't remember that. I just remember all the fun times. So so that was a nice thing. But
That's good.
But you, Carla, you're an Italian family, so there's got to be some...
My mother, she's gorgeous, but she always made us responsible for our actions, which was a really good thing, holds you in good stead. And I remember I was mucking around with her wallet, and it landed in this fish pond of our next door neighbour. And she said to me, well, go in and get it. And I go, Mum, like... And in the meantime, a bus full of high school students were there, and I'm in this pond wading, trying to hide behind some lilies to retrieve Mum's wallet. And in those days, money was paper, so I can remember her taking out of the wallet and drying it in the oven, you know, because you could dry your money in the oven because it was paper. So, but she it wasn't in a harsh way, but responsive. If we wanted to cook, we had to clean up. And they're things that I really appreciate as an adult. And you try to pass some of those things on to your own kids with varying degrees of success. But so that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Yeah. And there was lots of people in our household. We grew up on a cane farm. And there was extended family, so us, like you, often had visitors, and it wasn't a big deal to start the barbie up. And I remember it as a very rich upbringing. You know, there was always room for more release, and so it was nice. It was actually really nice. And
you went to school on a bus, which was like a...
Yeah, we went to school on a bus that people teased us. It was like it had... like not barbed wire, like chicken coop wire, sort of, instead of windows. So they would call us monkeys. I went to Caravonica, so when it was just like a 2-teacher school with cane farms all around. It was So I say to the kids, that's how old I am. You know, because I went to that school, now it's big and flourishing. It was just one little building, and it was good.
How about you, Faith?
I guess for my mum, she worked very, very hard, and she is very creative and zany and wacky. Love your mum. But I guess, like, looking back on childhood and being a leader in a church is that they really instilled in myself a really good work ethic and serving the Lord. You know, they dragged us to church and I would sleep under the pews, as many of us here, you know, and yeah, I just remember Sundays, because Mum and Dad run Sunday school when I was a kid for many, many years. So I just think, yeah, Mum was pretty amazing to have 4 kids and run a sweet kids church. And to, yeah, I think the pressure of being a mother and having 4 kids and still showing up every week and leading a team, I think that's pretty amazing.
Lots of energy, hey?
Yeah, I guess I just thank Mum for instilling those qualities in myself, because I see that I do that with my kids now, and yeah.
Yeah, so good.
It's a parental legacy that is left to us, whether it's good or bad or how we perceive it. Because somebody said to me one time, which was really releasing, you'll never be the perfect parent and neither will you have the perfect kids, because each one perceives things differently. Yeah. Like, I feel like I had a great childhood. Not everything was perfect, of course, but I was from a big family, but we all knew that we were loved, yet some of my perceptions were, you know, don't ask for anything special because
there's not the resources for it or something.
Yeah, maybe the resources or whatever it was, you know, but it didn't mean that they wouldn't have wanted to do it. And as an adult and then a parent yourself, you begin to understand some of the things they did.
Yeah.
Because you have to face those decisions and you have to make those responses and decide, is this good for my child or not? And the child may not think that. Like, they might think it's unfair. That's mean. You're just being mean. Why am I the only out of 30 kids that there's only 3 or 4 of us whose parents have said we can't do this thing, you know? And you feel bad about that, but they're just decisions that you had to make. My mum's gone. She's finished her race, as also my mother-in-law. So she was a stay-at-home mum. That was always what she wanted to do, and so she made a home. I remember a couple of things that I remember was her cutting up her wedding dress one time to make us all satin undies. We love those satin undies, but she cut up her wedding dress to do that, you know, because
that's sacrifice right there, isn't it?
Not like she was going to wear the dress again, but, you know, it's just still to think, wow, you know, she did that. You know, then she, there were things where at times I thought it was mean, but like I said, because of her love. Actually, I remember when we lived on a farm and I liked this boy, and we lived 10 miles out of town, so somehow or other, he was older than me, and we had decided we'd meet up. He was going to ride out of town to meet up, you know, and down the road somewhere. And looking at it now as an adult, obviously my behaviour was out of character to say that I'm going to go and meet my friend, my girlfriend. my girlfriend, you know, like, and I'm sure, like I was with some of my kids when they said stuff, you're like, really? What is this, you know? And so she said, well, I'll drive you. And I'm like, no, Mum, you don't do that. But she did, and I'm the kid, so she's the adult, you know, so she drove me. It was actually a long way. I don't know what was in my head. Obviously, I was about 11, I think, you know.
Oh dear, Pauline. They're advanced in the country.
No, I was just naive. This boy, he had kissed me at the pool one time. I didn't know how that happened, you know, but there you go.
This party's getting rough, girls.
But, like, I'm really thankful now because obviously who knows what might have happened in that time, you know, and there were times like those things. But we have lots of funny stories about Mum because she was a bit of a character, you know. And, but I am thankful for the legacy that she did. Actually, you know, making Anzac biscuits from memory was something that I decided to learn how to do, because she used to, sometimes she'd be baking and then she'd go, oh, blow, I forgot this. Oh, well, I'll make it into da-da-da-da, you know, and she'd turn what was going to be a cake into a slice. Or...
I know someone else who's like that.
And so I said to her one day, Mum, so how do you do that? She goes, well, when we went to school, we learned that not a pound of butter, like X amount of the cup of sugar, this made a basic recipe, and then you could add to it. So Anzac cookies and, chocolate slice and stuff like that, I decided to learn, So it turns out different every time because I don't always measure things correctly.
It's an adventure.
But you know what? It always got eaten. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so thank God for mums, hey?
Yep.
So, I mean, being a mum's only one part of who we are.
Yep.
It's not the whole person. And somebody who doesn't give birth to a child is not incomplete.
That's right. That's
right.
Absolutely.
At times there was a shame about being barren. But in reality, they're still a whole person.
Yes.
And those instincts to nurture and to love are still there and can be used, which is what we talked about before, where people have been able to do that.
Yeah.
One of the things about whether you chose to be a mother or not, whether it was like a surprise, or as sometimes say, well, you were a surprise, or you were an accident.
I hate that. You were an accident.
But I learned some years ago, I remember a guy talking about the fact that none of us are hidden to God. He's the author of what happens, and so he's not, when you're an author, you decide who turns up, which character turns up in your story and what they do, etc. So for me, it's okay, you may have been a surprise to your parents, but the author wanted you here. Yeah. And so how you got here may have been a mistake, but it's actually, you're here. So I just find that anchoring for, for me. But once you actually do become a mum, whether you've adopted, however it's come about, whether you married somebody who had children, so it's there. Yep. You give yourself to that. I mean, I chose to be a stay-at-home mum. I did a few part-time jobs along the way. Yet I know there's others who have been working mums. There is a sense where you sacrifice part of who you are in that season of time, true. And I used to have older ladies say to me, this will pass. And I'm like, yeah, it's all right for you to say that. When I was in the midst of having 3 under 4 and then adding an extra one, and you'd be at a conference or somewhere and you're spending most of the time in what wasn't a cry room back in those days. You just had to find a space. And they'd say, this will pass. Yeah, right. And I saw that at your place the other day. This too shall pass, Amp.
Oh, yeah, so at the front door.
What has it felt like for you, even though you wanted to have children?
Because you've got 3 under what?
4.
3 under 4.
3 under 4 years. So that's pretty full on, isn't it? Because I had 3, but I had 4-year gaps.
Oh, wow.
So I spent my life doing the same thing. But I felt like I managed some sanity in between the times. So tell us what's that like?
Well, Lily was a surprise. I was wanting to be married for like 5 years before we started trying. But God had other plans. So it was 3 years into our marriage that we had Lily, and then I just thought, well, let's just have them all together. Let's just make the house crazy. But yeah, I have felt that sense of, because your life is just a sacrifice basically. Just all of you is just them, and even coming here to set up this, it's not just I can get up and go. It's like, got to drop the kids here, got to pack all their stuff, make sure they've got food, and it's never ending. So yeah, I often wonder, when is this going to end?
I think the younger they are, the more
dependent.
Totally, you just can't leave them, can you? They're going to fall off, do something, swallow something. So it's that total.
Get some corn up
your nose. That total.
Yeah,
when they're awake, you're caring, and even when they're asleep, you're checking if they're breathing. It's constant.
Yeah, we're in that stage where Zeffie's, crawling, picking everything up, putting it in his mouth, and have to scan every floor that he goes over because he's going to choke on something. I feel like becoming a mum, it's so selfless, and I guess you don't know until you start, I guess. Where was I going with that?
Occasionally we've talked about it in our office. I share my office with another lady and saying, sometimes you don't feel like you've got a lot to contribute to society because other women you talk to, they've got these riveting lives at work and there's lots of interesting stories, and you've got maybe Huggies on special at Woolies stories, and sometimes you do feel a little bit behind, like you've got not a lot to offer, even though you really appreciate what you're doing. Like I chose to stay at home. I think our youngest was in year 2 when I went back to work. But I think that's something, I don't know if it's a societal thing that we don't value. I'm not quite sure, but I think a lot of women, when you talk to them that are at home, they do sometimes have that sense of, oh, I don't have a great deal, you know, I'm just a mum. And I think it's so important if you can raise 2, 3, 4 solid individuals for society, man, tick. You know, that's great.
But I guess in today's world, it's like you can do all the things, and it's like that puts a pressure on you to be like, oh, it's not enough just to be a mum. You know, it feels like in this day and age, and you feel
Have you
like
felt that pressure?
a little bit, but I try not to. It's hard. But because, well, not just that, you want to do other things. You don't. Well, for me, I know some women want to just be a mum, and that's fine. But for me, I feel like, you know, I have a creative outlet and I want to do that so that I'm grounded, I guess, and it gives me something else to sort of, give me happiness or whatever it is, you know, like just to, away from the insanity of it all, just to keep me sane, you know, I do my exercise or, you know, you do your things that help you get through another day of such small children, you know, like
Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Do you think a little bit's about timing? Like Faith, I noticed you were at home with the kids, but at a certain time you thought, okay, now I reckon I can do this. You know?
Yeah, so I started uni when Finn was kindy, maybe? I don't even remember. But yeah, I went part-time and it was hard work. He's sitting at my feet and I'm feeding him food as I'm studying and doing lectures online. So, but for me, it's the same as having something to get you through those days and
And I think just financially these days, I mean, having one wage, it's okay, but seriously, things are a little bit more expensive. You go to the store and buy a few things and that was $60 and you go, what? How did that happen? You know? So there is, I think women also these days often like to contribute financially because they know it's a bit of an area of stress. It can be.
It makes you feel good if you can contribute. To
Yes.
you know? Like whenever I do work, it's like sweet. I'm also not that I have to, but it's nice to be able to.
So I think a lot of women even like to work part-time so that if they can get that work-life balance, it's good.
And
not all do have that privilege of being able to do that.
And being able to maybe go to a sports day, you know, as a working mum. I remember Carla and I at sports day when our kids were like in maybe grade 1, grade 2, and the races. Remember the little kids having their race car?
Pauline and I would cry. We found it very emotional, especially if one of yours is running and their hat falls off and they run back to get the hat and you think, what are you doing that for?
Because they have no idea about competition,
No,
and then you've got other
great.
kids that they just like, you know, it's just built into them to compete and want to win.
So they are nice things to be able to, you know, if you can do that. And I can really, working in a school and seeing different families, I can appreciate that not all women or all men that are parenting on their own can do that. And I just think working women that look after the whole household on their own are amazing. I really do. It's not an easy gig and they do it.
I think even COVID's kind of brought a bit of that out too. Like you look at the single women who can go out for a coffee, you know, take away coffee or go out for a run. You got 3 kids and you can't do anything. Like I've been lugging them up for a walk on the hill. But there's that sacrifice being a mother, as you said. And
I think always ask for help too, you know, like most people are willing to help. And I think in our world we think we have to do it on our own, but we actually don't have to do it on our own. And being part of church, you know, a bunch of believers, ask for help. People are busy, but they're always willing to do stuff. So I think today we think, no, we can't inconvenience anybody because everyone's busy, but most are okay. You know,
That's how I feel.
I know,
I don't
yeah.
want to inconvenience someone.
Yeah, but you know what?
Put them
People
out.
don't mind being inconvenienced, and they actually enjoy
Like
it.
helping.
They do.
Yeah, and they actually
do.
like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Often we find it hard
Yeah.
seriously believing
Yeah.
in our own value, but yet other people like us. I was found some old cards. I was cleaning out the office. Actually, you can see the desk now. But I found some cards, you know, some other days cards, I found a card from you, Carla, and I'm reading it and I'm like, you know, oh, gee, thank you, because, you know, people actually do like us and they're happy to help when we ask, but yeah, we don't always know, or we don't always think, who can I ask?
Yeah.
I remember having nursery rhymes stuck in my head, you know, because, or Sesame Street songs and stuff, play school songs from all those years of, you know, 4 kids going through that and listening to them, because we didn't have iPads and things those days, or with earphones. It was the telly, that was it, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember going to work a couple of times, which was good for my sanity, like counting to 12 to go beyond that at work. That was something, you know, it's good for your, you know, your brain. Yeah, but of course now, you know, kids are grown up, got their own kids, so your grandparent, and I remember Susan Thompson telling me one time, some years back now, I'm still trying to work out what I want to be when I grow up. I feel like I'm like that at the moment. I'm on a, you know, still a mum and still, you know, grandma and all that stuff, but, you know, the finding yourself as a woman and still finding outlets and creativity, I think that doesn't stop probably until we die, but...
And you still care for your kids, even if they're in their 30s, 40s, you're still... I think that aspect of care, I mean, it may change in some ways, but I hope they're doing okay, hope they, you know, it just stays with you.
I guess we didn't ever have...
Sorry,
we haven't
girls,
really... we haven't really ever had a fully empty house, because when our daughter was in year 12, we started doing, which something I always wanted to do but never had a spare room, was hosting international students. And of course, over the last 16 years, we've had students from all over the world, and we still have contact with them. And yeah, we have a Japanese student at the moment, so like, you know, that there's still a bit of that care element in there.
You're mothering on.
I'm mothering on, you know. Yeah. Actually, you know what, with the coat, you know how I made that, I got that swing at Christmas time, the big swing under the tree for, John fixed it up. I use that these days at the moment because the grandkids haven't been coming over. So it's my favourite place now. I go out under it at night time over there, I give it a push, and I have this gentle rock, so it's almost like I'm on the boat, because I haven't been on that either for a while. And then when I go and lay on my bed, I can still feel that little rock.
Yeah, and the moon was so fantastic last night.
Yeah,
Did you see that? It was
amazing.
gorgeous. Yeah. So women, they're a pretty amazing bunch, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think women all over the world, I think through war, I listened to some women that their men just move on and they stay and they look after the children, and I know sometimes it's vice versa, but I think women, they're just a breed of, special breed, and they stick at things that are hard when others, you know, look at mums with children with disabilities, how devoted they can be to them, or amazing. So celebrate women today. Have your cup of tea, unwrap your present,
Don't forget to call your mum.
accept the massage. Ask your kids, where's that note of all the lovely things I do for you?
One of the things my mum, I knew that I could get away with, because we live a long way away, I knew that I could get away with not sending a present, because over the years, in all of our memories, Mum used to count us off, who she'd heard from. And often, because Mother's Day is
Keep it telling us, sorry, you're out of the
because
will.
Mother's Day is always on a Sunday, and Sunday morning, you know, for us is church. It was often afternoon before I'd call her, and I knew
We're going to
that
get a lecture.
no, she didn't give a lecture. But and if I was ever there for Mother's Day, I was like, well, I've heard from Bern, I've heard from this one, I've heard from that. Oh, Pauline, she's busy at the moment. Like, she had a story as to why we hadn't called yet, you know. So I knew that a phone call was, you know. And for me, I used to tell my kids, I was stupid. Why did I do it? I used to tell them, just be good kids all year round, you know, like, don't worry about presents, but, you know, presents are good too. Just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you know, it was the early 1900s when that first came about to celebrate Mother's Day.
Yeah, I looked that up too. I think it was 1914, President Wilson.
And then there was also...
made it the United States made it a formal... But the original lady that advocated for Mother's Day, it wasn't about commercialism, it was about honouring women in some way. And so her daughter was pretty sad that it went. Yeah. But still, there's still something lovely about taking a day to recognise mums and women. And
So wherever, all over the world, wherever you are, if your mum's alive, if you're an adult and your mum's alive and you haven't talked to her in 5 years, pluck up the courage and give her a call. You know, it always saddens me, and I know we live in a broken world and we're imperfect and stuff happens, but you know, I feel for those parents who haven't heard from their kids for years and years and years, and they haven't heard from their grandkids, you know, like, it's just, it just makes my heart hurt, you know, and I want to try and fix it, but I can't, obviously. So I don't know, I just think if I encourage you to make an effort, whether write a letter or something, to make some contact, because, you know, you read and hear the stories of girls or women who have given up their children for adoption because for love of their child and wanting them to have a better life and feeling they couldn't do it, inside of them there was always that wonder, are they okay, are they doing all right? Some have had the privilege of being able to meet up with them like later on and reconnect, and I guess let that child know of the real reason why, you know, why that happened. It's pretty powerful stuff, and releasing for that mum then even to have that contact. So, you know, there's such a huge range of emotions. So many
stories, isn't there?
So many stories. I think about the SBS thing, you know, was it billion stories and counting? You know, we all have a story. But we can all have room in our heart. We can all have room at the table for another person to love. If they need a safe place to come to, we can be like a safe place. Make our home like a safe place to come to. If they just need a rest or whatever it is, you know. And that's what our Heavenly Father is like for us too. You know, He prepares a table for us, doesn't He? He leads us beside still waters. He restores our soul. And you know, we can laugh, we can still have fun, we can enjoy life. So we just love to send a blessing from our house to your house today, and so we pray.
You're going to pray him today? On behalf of all the young mums.
Pause.
Right. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for our mothers today, and all the mothers around the world, whether they're not physical, biological mothers, but they're nurturers by heart, Father God. And we just lift them up to you right now on this day, and I just pray that you would bless them and bless their household and give them a new strength in this season where it seems uncertain, and Lord, that you would be unwavering, that you would be the rock that they stand upon, Father God, and they hold close to you, Lord, and that in you they'll find peace and they'll find rest, Lord God. That you would be their pillar, Father, that they can hang on to you when times seem tough and the stress of raising children get to them and it feels burdensome. Lord, I pray that they would put their burdens onto you, Father God, and just really let go and find your peace, Father. I thank you for all the mothers today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes.
And it's been great.
Here's to ladies.
Here's to all the
Happy
mums
Mother's
and
Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
And
Don't
let's
give
crack
up.
into one of those scones. Did you bake them?
I
Pauline?
bake them, you know, they're
They
just
look
like,
good.
they're the lemonade recipe, you know.
Oh, famous.
Famous, no, 3 ingredients, no.
Tell the ladies, mate, or tell the kids.
The kids, oh yeah, kids, go and make some scones. No.
We need some amounts.
It's got like 2 cups of self-raising flour,
Yes,
a cup of lemonade, I believe,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
half a cup of white sugar.
and cream, isn't it?
Some recipes have cream. The really simple one only has those 3 things.
Really?
So if you're going to put cream, you do
stuff.
half lemonade, half cream. So you would do half a cup of lemonade, half a cup of cream. Mix it. Don't be too. They reckon scones
Don't
are
work it
best
too much.
if you don't
Don't
work them too much. I may have worked that just a little bit more than I should have.
No,
But you can tell.
They look good, Pauline.
I got John to sample
We'll give
one
you
for
our
you.
feedback.